Daniel Mercer's boots hit the polished platform, and the world tilted beneath him. The anti-gravity field hummed, tugging at his balance as he stepped into the alien palace. He had been warned about the alien king's sense of humor, but nothing could prepare him for the spectacle waiting at the center. A massive shadow fell across the room, and then a body dropped with a sickening thud. Daniel froze, his heart hammering. The creature sprawled at his feet was enormous. Its scales cracked, one wing twisted at an impossible angle, its tail dragging across the floor in spasms. One eye was milky and lifeless. The other, partially open, shone with a strange golden glow that seemed almost human. The alien court erupted in laughter. Metallic, echoing laughter that grated on Daniel's nerves. The alien king, perched high above on his levitating throne, leaned forward with a wide, cruel smile. "See, human," he said in a voice that vibrated inside Daniel's chest, "this is the gift your kind was sent to fix. Consider it a test, or entertainment." Daniel didn't move. He didn't speak. His eyes scanned the creature, noting the torn muscle fibers along its wings, the deep gouges along its flank, the faint pulse of bioluminescent veins beneath its broken scales. The dragon, or whatever species this was alive, barely. Its breathing was shallow, ragged, and uneven. His hands moved before his mind could fully register the danger. He crouched, checking the creature's vitals with a small scanner he had tucked into his belt. Alien technology buzzed beneath his fingers. The scanner showed irregular heart rhythms, stress markers, and damaged cellular structures. It was worse than he had expected. "Easy," he whispered, reaching out. The dragon's golden eye flicked toward him, a hesitant spark of recognition, or fear. Daniel held his hand steady. The pulse of its bioluminescent veins responded to his touch, pulsing faster as if sensing his intent. His chest tightened. "It knows I'm trying to help," he realized. The alien king clapped slowly, the sound echoing unnaturally. "Careful, human. This is my favorite broken toy. Don't overstep, or you'll become part of the entertainment." Daniel ignored the warning. He had one shot to stabilize the creature before the court could act, or before the creature's injuries became fatal. He pressed a small alien device to the dragon's chest, activating a stabilization field. Energy rippled, shimmering in faint blues and purples, and the dragon shuddered violently before settling slightly, its shallow breathing slowing. A faint spark of hope hit Daniel. Small victory, he thought. At least it's alive for now. The court's laughter faltered. The dragon stirred, flexing its claws, its tail twitching like it had a mind of its own. Daniel's eyes widened. He hadn't expected this level of responsiveness. "You're stronger than they gave you credit for," he murmured, placing another hand on its neck to steady it. The dragon leaned into him, pressing its broken head against his chest as if seeking reassurance. Then it happened. The golden eye flared, and a soft, almost inaudible voice echoed inside Daniel's head. Not words spoken aloud, but an echo, a thought formed so clearly it felt real. "Help, before they take me." Daniel froze. The court gasped. Some of the aliens whispered to one another, scanning the air for interference, but none of them seemed to hear what he did. The alien king's smile twitched. Daniel's mind raced. He had treated injured animals before, but never like this. Never one that could communicate telepathically. "It's in real danger," he thought. "And I'm the only one who can save it." Without hesitation, he adjusted the stabilization field, increasing its output just enough to keep the creature conscious. The dragon let out a faint growl, weak but deliberate, as if it understood the human's intent. Daniel could feel its trust forming, fragile but real. The alien king's voice cut through the tension. "Do you feel clever, human? Do you think you can save my little joke?" Daniel didn't respond. He kept working, running diagnostic scans on the dragon's body. Every moment counted. Every second of hesitation could cost the creature its life. Suddenly, sparks erupted from the broken wing. The field flared violently, and Daniel stumbled back, shielding himself as a wave of energy pulsed across the floor. The dragon shivered, wings trembling violently, then it let out a sound that was more than a growl, a deep, resonant vibration that rattled the platform. The aliens recoiled. Even the alien king flinched slightly. Daniel's pulse raced. The dragon's strength was returning faster than expected. It wasn't just survival, it was fighting back. Then, the micro cliffhanger. As Daniel crouched close to steady it, the dragon's good eye fixed on him, and he sensed a thought forming, urgent and direct. "They will come for me. You must run with me." Daniel's stomach dropped. The alien king wasn't just mocking him. There was a threat lurking deeper, one that no courtier had mentioned. And Daniel realized with a chill running down his spine, that saving this creature would pull him into something far bigger, and far deadlier, than he could yet imagine. He swallowed, heart pounding, and whispered, "Then we don't have a choice." The dragon's pulse flared again, stronger this time as the palace lights dimmed slightly, as if the building itself had noticed the shift. Daniel and the broken dragon were alone against a court that would not hesitate to kill, and against an alien king who treated life like a toy. And for the first time, Daniel understood. This was no ordinary mission. This was a test of every ounce of human courage and compassion he had to offer. Then the golden eye narrowed, focusing entirely on him. Something moved in the shadows of the palace, something waiting to strike. Daniel clenched his jaw, gripping the dragon's shoulder. Whatever came next, he was ready. And then the first alarm sounded, a sharp, high-pitched signal that screamed across the palace. The alien king's guards were mobilizing. Daniel's stomach tightened. "We have to move. Now." The dragon twitched, wings sparking with renewed energy, and Daniel realized, this was only the beginning. Daniel's hands shook slightly as he scanned the dragon's body for more hidden injuries. The creature's wings were cracked, its scales still marred with deep gashes, and faint glowing lines along its limbs hinted at alien implants that pulsed unnaturally. Every microsecond mattered. If the implants weren't removed, the dragon might die, even if Daniel succeeded in stabilizing its vital signs. He crouched beside it, ignoring the alien king's hovering presence. "These aren't just injuries," Daniel muttered, pressing the scanner against the dragon's forearm. The implants were deliberately designed to cripple, tiny machines fused into muscle and bone to suppress strength, movement, and even thought. Whoever did this wanted the dragon useless and obedient. A ripple of amusement passed through the court. The alien king's voice cut sharply through the platform's hum. "Do you think you can fix my joke, human? You may try, but all of your efforts are meaningless. Its fate is mine to control." Daniel ignored the words. He had faced impossible situations before, and nothing had prepared him for an intelligent creature in real pain. He had to act. He reached for a small set of alien surgical tools he had pocketed, adjusting the field to isolate the implants. Sparks of blue energy flared along the veins as he worked, and the dragon twitched violently. Its good eye narrowed at him, a mix of fear and understanding. "It's okay," he whispered, even though he knew the creatures didn't understand human speech in the usual sense. He had learned to rely on the subtle psychic feedback. The dragon responded to intention, not words. Its bioluminescent veins pulsed faster when he steadied his hands over its body. Suddenly the palace doors slammed shut. Heavy metallic boots clanged across the platform as guards converged. Daniel's heart raced. They were already suspicious of his movements. One wrong action, one misstep, and he could be torn from the creature's side before he even finished. Daniel clenched his jaw. "I don't have time to argue," he muttered, focusing on the implant near the dragon's wing. A pulse of energy surged through the field, and the implant emitted a sharp hiss before sparking and detaching. The dragon shrieked, a sound so piercing it made Daniel flinch, but it didn't lash out. Instead, it shivered violently, wings trembling as if fighting pain from weeks of forced immobility. A small payoff moment, a single spark of movement in the wing. It lifted slightly, a twitch that was almost imperceptible, but Daniel saw it. He grinned through the tension. "It's working." The guards reached the edge of the anti-gravity platform, scanning for interference. Daniel's mind raced. The last thing he needed was a confrontation before he had a chance to remove the rest of the implants. He grabbed a small alien mist projector and triggered it, sending a dense, bioluminescent fog across the platform. The guards coughed and hesitated, their sensors disrupted just long enough for Daniel to continue. "Come on," he muttered, more to himself than the dragon. The creature responded with a low, vibrating hum, its neck flexing gently against his arm. Daniel realized it trusted him completely now, a bond stronger than anything he had ever felt with an animal. He focused on the next implant, a slender needle fused along the spine. Removing it required precision. Too fast and it could rupture the dragon's nervous tissue. Too slow and the guards would notice. Sweat ran down his temples. With careful hands and steady breath, he isolated the implant with a focused energy pulse and carefully disengaged it. Another twitch of the dragon's wing, stronger this time. Daniel allowed himself a brief smile. 2 down, 1 to go. But then something unexpected happened. The dragon's eye glowed brighter than before, and a voice echoed directly in Daniel's mind, clearer than the last time. "They're watching you. You cannot trust anyone here." Daniel froze. The palace wasn't just a backdrop for humiliation, it was a trap. Every guard, every courtier, Every sensor was a threat. And now he understood why the alien king had chosen this creature for mockery. It was not just broken, it was a test of loyalty, courage, and intelligence. The final implant was embedded deep in the dragon's chest, where its heart muscles twisted unnaturally around a small mechanical core. Daniel's hands hovered over it. One wrong move and the dragon could die instantly. He took a deep breath, remembering the countless emergencies he had faced back on Earth. Ship crashes, injured animals, critical surgeries. I can do this. He activated the alien surgical tools, delicately severing the core's connections. Sparks flew, and the dragon's body convulsed violently, thrashing against him. Daniel held on, bracing against the force. The bioluminescent veins pulsed wildly, but as the core finally detached, a wave of calm spread through the dragon's body. Its wings lifted slightly on their own. Its breathing normalized. A small victory. Daniel exhaled, muscles tense from exertion. He stepped back, watching the creature rise to its knees. Its golden eye fixed on him, pupils narrowing with a mixture of recognition and gratitude. It nudged his shoulder gently with its snout. The palace erupted, not in laughter but in murmurs of shock. Even the alien king blinked, unprepared for this turn of events. Daniel realized that he hadn't just healed a creature. He had defied humiliation, defied cruelty, and proven the value of human compassion in a court that thrived on fear. But the victory was fragile. From the shadows, Daniel noticed subtle movements. Elite guards shifting into position, palace sensors flickering as if recalibrating to track him more closely. The dragon trembled, sensing the renewed threat. Daniel's stomach tightened. The implants were gone, but the danger was far from over. The alien king was no fool. This act of defiance would not go unanswered. He looked down at the dragon, reading the silent message in its gaze. We are not safe here. We must move. A sudden metallic clang echoed from the ceiling. A trap being triggered, heavy weights sliding into position. Daniel grabbed the dragon's shoulder and whispered, "Then we don't wait. We go now." The dragon flared its wings, energy crackling along the edges, ready to leap. Daniel's mind raced with plans, but time was already slipping through his fingers. They had survived the first round, but the alien king's palace was a maze of danger, and the real test had just begun. He took a deep breath, tightening his grip. Outside the palace, the stars shimmered cold and distant, but Daniel knew one thing for certain. If we survive this, we'll never be the same. And then the alarm screamed, a harsh, urgent tone that rippled through the anti-gravity platform. Guards shouted, rushing in from every direction. Daniel's heart pounded. The first real battle to escape had begun. Daniel's boots scraped against the polished platform as he backed away from the rushing guards. The dragon behind him groaned low, a vibrating hum that Daniel felt in his chest as much as he heard it. Its wings twitched nervously, still weak from weeks of injury, but its golden eye shone with focus and something like trust. They had survived the first assault, but the palace was no safe haven. Not yet. The guard's metallic footsteps grew louder. Daniel's mind raced. He had limited alien tech at his disposal, just enough to create brief diversions, not a full escape. He scanned the edges of the anti-gravity platform, looking for anything that could help. Then he saw it, a faint line of conduits running along the wall, pulsing with energy. Maybe I can reroute them, he thought, just long enough to get out. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small alien device, a tool designed for diagnostics but usable for manipulation of energy fields. While holding it, he whispered to the dragon, "We'll get through this. But you have to trust me." The creature's golden eye flicked to him, pupils narrowing in silent acknowledgement. Daniel could feel the telepathic echo again, "I trust you." He worked quickly, pressing the device against the conduit. Sparks of blue energy ran through the channel, and the palace sensors flickered. The guards hesitated, confused by the sudden interference. Daniel allowed himself a brief smile. One step closer. Then it happened. The dragon's chest pulsed violently, its veins glowing brighter than ever. Daniel froze. He realized the implants had suppressed not just movement but something far deeper, a psychic link. He could feel it now, the dragon's mind brushing against his own, sending images he barely understood. Shadows of the alien king's thoughts, flickers of memory, flashes of hidden rooms, and a deep, binding connection between the creature and the throne. Daniel's breath caught. "You're connected to him," he whispered. "That's why he wanted you broken. Not for sport, but for control." The dragon's golden eye widened slightly, and a thought pulsed sharply in Daniel's mind. "He fears me being free. They will punish you if we don't move." The sound of rushing guards pulled Daniel back to reality. He grabbed the dragon's shoulder, steadying it as its wings twitched. "We don't have much time. Let's use what you've got." He activated the last of his portable field emitters. A shockwave of energy rippled out, momentarily disorienting the guards, who staggered back against the platform's edge. The dragon flared its wings, weak sparks of energy crackling along their edges. For the first time, it moved deliberately, not out of pain but in response to Daniel's direction. Its psychic resonance seemed to amplify his own focus, as though the dragon and human were synchronizing. Daniel gritted his teeth. "This is our chance." He leapt forward, dragging the creature toward a side passage he had spotted moments before. The dragon stumbled, wings faltering, but Daniel held it steady, muttering, "Almost there, almost there." Another pulse from the dragon's mind showed him a hidden hatch, a small door beneath the floor panel. He yanked it open, revealing a dim shaft. The creature hesitated, growling softly. "Come on," Daniel urged. "We stick together or we don't survive." The golden eye met his and he could feel the silent question, "Can I trust you fully?" Daniel nodded. "You can." And with that, the dragon ducked, folding its wings awkwardly to squeeze into the shaft. Daniel followed, the emergency lights above casting a green glow on their faces. The guards screamed behind them, weapons firing. Sparks flared against the walls as a plasma bolt struck near Daniel's shoulder. He gritted his teeth and pushed forward. "No time to think. Just move." The shaft twisted sharply, leading them downward into an older, forgotten section of the palace. Dust and debris coated the floor, and the faint pulse of alien energy was weaker here. Daniel let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. The dragon lowered its wings, chest rising and falling in steadier breaths. Daniel scanned the area. Ancient murals covered the walls, symbols and markings that no alien he had met had ever used in the court. As he touched one of them, a sudden vision flashed through his mind, a sequence of psychic impressions from the dragon. Memories not its own, but fragments of the alien king's childhood. He saw the creature as a young hatchling, bonding to the bloodline of the king, trained to obey, forced into cruelty. The implants had been not just control mechanisms, but a method of severing any natural empathy the dragon might have had. Daniel's stomach twisted. So they didn't just want to break you physically. They wanted to break your mind too. The dragon's hum resonated with agreement, pulsing gently against his chest. "But I remember you, human. I remember kindness." A noise behind them made Daniel whirl. Shadows shifted along the walls, elite guards had followed them through side passages. Daniel's heart hammered. There was no room for hesitation. He grabbed a nearby pipe and swung it, creating a barrier as the dragon flared a weak burst of energy from its wings. Sparks flew, a guard screamed, and the path cleared just long enough for them to move. Daniel stumbled into a wider chamber. In the center was a pool of glowing water, rippling as if alive. He glanced down at the dragon. The water reflected the golden glow of its eye, and suddenly Daniel realized, the dragon could do more than heal, it could influence the environment around it. Every pulse from its body seemed to affect the room, subtly, unpredictably. A sudden mental flash from the dragon hit him. He watches. He knows. There's no time. We must leave before he intervenes. Daniel swallowed. He didn't fully understand the extent of the connection yet, but he did understand one thing. The dragon was no longer just a creature to heal. It was an ally, a partner, and potentially the key to surviving the alien king's palace and uncovering his secrets. Then the floor beneath them shuddered violently. A hidden trap, ancient and long dormant, had activated, probably triggered by the dragon's psychic pulses. Dust rained down, chunks of metal and stone crashing around them. Daniel grabbed the dragon, bracing as the ground shifted, the shaft above collapsing in slow-motion chaos. The golden eye fixed on Daniel again and he felt the urgent, almost desperate thought. We are too close to him. He will stop us if we hesitate. Daniel nodded. Then we don't hesitate. As they ran, a shadow moved across the far wall, something alive, something watching, waiting. Daniel felt the hair on his neck rise. The alien king had secrets beyond even the palace walls, and now he realized, escaping was only the beginning, and whatever lay ahead would demand everything from both of them. Daniel and the dragon burst into the wide chamber, dust and debris still falling from the collapsing shaft behind them. The glowing pool reflected their figures, shimmering with energy that Daniel couldn't fully understand. He barely had time to glance at it before the sound of metallic boots echoed through the chamber. The alien king's elite guards were closing in, faster and more numerous than he had imagined. Stay close. Daniel shouted, gripping the dragon's shoulder. The creature's wings twitched nervously, but Daniel could feel its growing strength, the sparks of energy crawling along the edges of its wings. Every pulse of its body seemed to synchronize with his own heartbeat. We're a team now, he thought, and we have to fight our way out. The first guard reached them, weapons raised. Daniel didn't hesitate. He grabbed a fallen metal pipe, swinging it with precision honed from years of emergency work. The guard yelped as the pipe collided with his armor, sending him staggering backward. The dragon growled low, a vibrating resonance that Daniel felt in his chest. Sparks shot from its wings, striking the next pair of guards. Their weapons shorted out, leaving them stumbling and confused. Daniel's mind raced. We can't just run. We have to make every move count. He noticed a series of levers along the chamber walls, part of an ancient alien mechanism. He grabbed one, pulling with all his strength. A section of the wall shifted, revealing a hidden corridor. The guards were momentarily distracted, and Daniel seized the opportunity. This way, he yelled, dragging the dragon toward the corridor. The dragon followed, its wings flaring slightly to help propel them forward. Sparks and energy pulses trailed behind, illuminating the dark corridor. Daniel could feel the psychic connection stronger than ever. The dragon seemed to anticipate every step he would take. It's not just helping me survive, he realized. It's learning from me. They rounded a corner, only to find a patrol of bioengineered hunters blocking the path. These weren't ordinary guards, they were large, armored creatures with claws that could tear through metal. Daniel's stomach tightened. We're outnumbered, he whispered, gripping the dragon's shoulder. But we can use what we've got. He activated the last of his portable field emitters. A wave of energy rippled outward, disrupting the hunter's sensors. The dragon flared its wings again, sending sparks into the air. The hunters roared, but their attacks faltered. Daniel seized the moment, sprinting forward while the dragon followed closely, its golden eye fixed on him with unwavering trust. Then the shock came. The dragon's psychic pulse surged unexpectedly, resonating through the chamber. The walls shuddered, and for a brief moment, Daniel caught a glimpse of the alien king, his white, armored figure reflected in the shimmering pool of energy. The creature's connection to the king was stronger than Daniel had imagined. We've triggered something, he thought, and it's dangerous. A hail of plasma bolts rained down from above. Daniel ducked behind the dragon as its wings flared again, forming a protective shield. Sparks danced along their edges, deflecting some of the energy. But the blasts continued, relentless. The guards advanced, shouting commands in alien tongues, their weapons trained on them. Daniel's mind worked frantically. He couldn't outrun all of them, not with the palace collapsing around them. He had to fight smarter, not just harder. Spotting a series of structural supports overhead, he shouted to the dragon, "Aim for the beams." The dragon hesitated for a moment, then flared its wings, sending a controlled burst of energy into the supports. Metal groaned and cracked, and massive sections of debris fell, creating chaos among the guards and hunters. Daniel seized the opening, grabbing the dragon's shoulder and leaping toward the side passage he had noticed earlier. They slid down a narrow chute, sparks flying from the dragon's wings as it adjusted to the tight space. The guards shouted behind them, but the narrow passage forced them to slow, giving Daniel and the dragon precious seconds. They emerged into a chamber filled with alien artifacts, relics that hummed faintly with energy. Daniel realized that these objects could be used as improvised weapons or shields. He grabbed a small crystalline shard, swinging it to deflect an incoming plasma bolt. The dragon's wings flared again, energy pulsing in perfect sync with Daniel's movements. We're unstoppable together, he thought. But the final shock came when the alien king himself appeared at the far end of the chamber. His tendrils shifted unnaturally, and his voice echoed directly in Daniel's mind. "You think you can defy me, human? You are nothing." Daniel's heart pounded, but he didn't flinch. He had faced impossible odds before, and this was no different. "I'm human," he replied, voice steady. "We endure. We fight. And we don't give up." The dragon roared, wings flaring as if echoing his defiance. Its bioluminescent veins pulsed, sending a wave of energy toward the alien king. The palace walls trembled under the psychic surge. Guards were thrown off balance, hunters faltered, and the air vibrated with raw power. Daniel felt a thrill of exhilaration. The impossible odds weren't over yet, but they had shifted. The alien king had underestimated them, underestimated human courage, ingenuity, and the power of compassion. Then a sudden tremor ran through the chamber. A massive shadow moved across the walls, another unknown force, waiting in the palace's depths. Daniel's stomach tightened. The battle wasn't finished. It was only escalating. He looked at the dragon. Its golden eye glowed fiercely. We can do this, he thought. We have to. The palace shook violently, and the next wave of plasma bolts screamed down the corridor. Daniel grabbed the dragon's shoulder. Hold on. We're not done yet. The golden eye narrowed, wings flaring wide, ready to face whatever came next. Daniel's heart pounded with anticipation, adrenaline, and determination. They had survived the alien king's first attack, but the real test was still ahead. The chamber began to collapse around them, dust and metal raining down, sparks flying from exposed energy conduits. Daniel knew one thing with certainty: they had proven themselves. Humans could endure, adapt, and rise against impossible odds. But as they prepared to move, a new, unexpected energy pulse shot through the floor. It wasn't from the guards, the hunters, or even the dragon. Daniel's pulse quickened. Something deeper, something ancient, had awakened. The alien king had secrets beyond imagination, and now Daniel realized they were only scratching the surface. And whatever came next would demand everything they had: courage, wit, and trust. Daniel's chest heaved as he ducked beneath the collapsing ceiling of the chamber, the dragon's wings flaring beside him. Sparks arced from the broken conduits, sending flashes of light across the walls, illuminating their escape path. The palace was falling apart around them, but the worst danger wasn't the debris. It was the alien king watching from his throne, his psychic presence pressing against them like a physical weight. Stay close, Daniel whispered to the dragon. Its golden eye met his, pupils narrow but steady. He could feel the creature's pulse, a synchronized rhythm with his own heartbeat. We've survived worse than this. We can make it. They darted through a narrow passage, Daniel grabbing shards of alien crystal to deflect small plasma strikes from the remaining guards. Each step was a careful calculation. One wrong move and they could be impaled or trapped. The dragon stumbled slightly, wings weak from previous injuries, but Daniel steadied it, murmuring encouragement. You're stronger than they think. Stronger than even I imagined. The corridor widened into a hidden courtyard, lit by a pale alien sun filtering through high windows. Daniel froze, noticing something that made his stomach tighten. The alien king had anticipated their escape. Elite guards had formed a blockade at the far end, plasma weapons trained and ready. Daniel's mind raced. They couldn't outrun them, there were too many. But the dragon's golden eye pulsed, a clear signal he had learned to read. I can help. But you have to act. He nodded, trust and determination hardening his jaw. Then we act. Daniel picked up a crystalline shard from the courtyard floor, focusing on the sharp edges. He hurled it at a nearby pillar, striking a weak point in its base. The pillar toppled, smashing into two of the approaching guards. Sparks flew as energy weapons misfired in the chaos. The dragon flared its wings, emitting a pulse of energy that knocked back another set of guards, creating a gap for Daniel to move. Small payoff, a fleeting moment of triumph, but danger still loomed. Daniel lunged forward, gripping the dragon's shoulder as they sprinted toward the far edge of the courtyard. The palace walls shivered with the alien king's psychic energy. Daniel realized the king was not just fighting them physically, he was probing their minds, trying to anticipate every move. The dragon's wings trembled, but it pushed forward, pulsing energy in time with Daniel's focus. Together they formed a rhythm of attack and evasion. Daniel ducked a plasma blast, using the dragon's energy to deflect another. Their combined ingenuity and courage allowed them to advance against overwhelming odds. As they reached the edge of the courtyard, Daniel glanced back at the alien king. For the first time he saw hesitation in the alien's posture. The implants had been removed, the psychic bond broken in part, and the dragon's loyalty had shifted entirely. The king's power was immense, but he had underestimated the human's ability to inspire trust and courage in others. Daniel whispered to the dragon, "We're not just surviving anymore. We're showing them what humans can do." The dragon responded with a low hum that resonated through Daniel's chest. Its energy pulsed, creating a protective aura as they moved. Sparks from broken conduits arced harmlessly away from them. Finally, they reached a large hatch leading to the outer ramparts. Daniel pulled it open, revealing the alien sky, violet clouds swirling above the city, distant stars shimmering beyond. The wind whipped through the ramparts, but for the first time, Daniel felt a glimmer of hope. They had made it this far. The dragon shifted, spreading its wings, golden eye fixed on Daniel. It nudged him gently, a clear gesture of trust and loyalty. Daniel realized this was the culmination of everything they had endured. The creature had survived because of his courage, ingenuity, and compassion. And in return, it had become more than an ally, it had become a partner capable of incredible feats when guided by trust. Daniel smiled, exhausted but resolute. "We did it," he said, voice low. "You're free now. And so am I, at least for now." The alien king's voice echoed faintly from the palace, distant but sharp. "You have survived, but the game is far from over, human." Daniel's stomach tightened. He had no doubt the king would return, stronger and more prepared. But for the moment he and the dragon were alive, bonded, and unbroken. Small payoff moment. The dragon flexed its healed wings, beating them slowly in the air. Sparks of energy pulsed along its limbs, a visible symbol of resilience and recovery. Daniel could feel the warmth of trust radiating from the creature, a reward for every risk and decision he had made. Daniel looked toward the horizon. Beyond the palace he could see alien fleets moving in the distance, hints of other challenges and dangers waiting in the galaxy. His mind raced with possibilities. Alliances, betrayals, missions that could test the limits of human courage. He realized that this victory, though significant, was only the beginning. Then, without warning, the dragon's golden eye flared brighter than ever. Daniel felt a pulse in his mind, stronger and more urgent. Something approaches, something ancient. We are not safe yet. Daniel's heart raced. He tightened his grip on the dragon's shoulder, looking out toward the distant stars. The message was clear. Their journey was far from over. The alien king was only one of many threats, and the galaxy held mysteries that would demand every ounce of intelligence, courage, and compassion he could muster. But Daniel smiled through the tension. He had learned something vital. Humans endure, adapt, and inspire loyalty and courage in even the most alien beings. Compassion and determination were weapons more powerful than any energy rifle or psychic probe. The dragon nudged him again, and Daniel knew they would face whatever came next together. Against impossible odds they had triumphed, not just physically but morally. The human spirit had prevailed. The wind whipped through the ramparts again and Daniel whispered, "Then let's see what's out there. Whatever it is, we face it together." A shadow flickered across the horizon, a massive alien fleet unlike any Daniel had ever seen, moving silently but deliberately. The golden pulse from the dragon intensified as if warning him. Daniel took a deep breath. The galaxy was calling and the adventure was far from over. And that was only the beginning.